If we could please stand for the pledge. Good evening. Could we please do roll call?
Here.
Here. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of February 15th, 2023.
I'll make that motion.
We don't have any old business, and we have 2 tabled matters. But we will make sure for the 2 tabled matters, we will review them in the order of our meeting, right? Tabled matters,
They're not on for tonight, though.
but they're not on for tonight, okay. So the 2 table matters are not on for this evening, so we don't have to worry about that, okay. And then for new business, we're going to be making some changes to the agenda. So I'd like to amend the agenda for item number 4 to go to the first item. To make that motion. Okay, and then, so item number 4 will be item number 1. Item number 6 will be item number 3. And item number 7 will be item number 2.
I'll make the motion to changes.
Commissioner Mike Laird made a motion to amend the agenda to move item number 4 to number 1, number 6 to number 3, and number 7 to number 2. Commissioner Laird made a motion. Commissioner Morales, how do you vote?
I'll second it, and yes.
Okay. Commissioner Laird, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed to amend the agenda.
Okay, so the first item on the agenda is the Tenares Tire Center is applying for a car dealer license. And so I have Arlenis with us. Yeah, if you can come up. Thank you. Hi. Could you please state your name for the record and the reason for the application?
Arlenis Almanzar. I'm just here because I'm transferring over the business to my name.
Do you have any questions? Officer Cano?
I have no questions.
Captain Delaney?
No questions.
Director Alfonso?
Inspection of services.
I'd like to congratulate you, first of all. And second, the business has been there for a while, so do it good, okay?
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to grant this transfer. That's what it
I'll
is.
make a motion, we approve it.
I'll second.
Commissioner Mike Laird made a motion to approve the license for Tenare Tire Center, where it used to be 7 Genius at 291, 299 Broadway, second by Commissioner Morales. Commissioner Laird, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Morales, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passed. Your business is being approved. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
So for item number 2, we have Attica Nightclub and Restaurant. We do have a police report And so if you can just give us 2 seconds to pull up the file, because, yeah. Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure I have everything here. It would be great if you could state your name for the record, who you're representing, and then we'll have the officers come up, and that's the order we'll do it in.
Good evening, Commissioner Morales, Commissioner Laird. Dan Tarlow, I represent Attica Nightclub, and we're here tonight to answer any questions and concerns the board has regarding the incident at hand. And I have with me Adonis Rodriguez, I have Yoel Herrera, and also their head of security to answer your questions and concerns.
Thank you. And I'm going to pass it, Officer Cano.
What officer's going to testify?
Santiago and Martinez?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, thank you for coming. You don't have to read the entire report, but and we can follow along, but could you please summarize the incident?
So,
I'm going to interrupt for a second.
sorry.
If you don't mind, just,
Thing.
I'm getting feedback. Just state your name, identify yourself, and then, like you do in court, and just proceed with explaining the story of what you know.
My name is Jonathan Santiago. I currently work for the Lawrence Police Department. Been there 2 years. Took place February 11th. I worked a midnight shift from 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. I was conducting extra surveillance of the area. I was aware that there was a well-known artist that night at the club. So I was approached by security, and I asked them, hey, what's going on at the club? And I saw, a huge number of vehicles parked around the area. So I asked him, hey, what's going on? And he was telling me, hey, there's so-and-so here, singing tonight. There's about 400 members, 400 people in attendance. So that raised awareness, considering the issues we've been having on our shift dealing with the clubs at night. So I parked at the side on Mill Street. I asked for an additional unit just in case something would go off. Right at closing time, observed a large group coming out, arguing with each other, back and forth. Couldn't pinpoint who was arguing with who. Everything was just happening so quickly. I exit my cruiser along with additional units that were there. I come across a female victim. She was arguing, but I couldn't tell who she was arguing with. I saw her swing into the crowd. At this point, you know, it's A and B in my presence. I placed her in cuffs and conducted an arrest. I was trying to look for the other female that was involved that night. She was gone. Nobody could tell me anything of her whereabouts, neither security. I asked for surveillance cameras, and I guess security told me that there was no surveillance cameras in the area where the incident had occurred. That was a little bit of what happened that night. Like I said, it's been an ongoing issue with us, at least for our shift, midnight shift. We've had numerous altercations at different clubs throughout the city, and we're trying our best to attend to these issues, but we only have so much manpower on our shift due to the lack of staff that we have as of now. So our fear is that, you know, something greater can happen if these issues continue to grow. We now know that, you know, the warm weather is coming around us. We all know that warm weather equals more issues. Yep.
Thank you. And then I have a second incident report for the same, February 11th is the same one? Do you have questions? Officer Cano?
Do we want to hear from the other officer at all?
Yes.
Okay, so Officer Martinez, I work for the Lawrence Police Department. So that night, I was working. I was trying to stay in the downtown area due to the clubs being almost closing time for the clubs. I heard Officer Santiago call for backup. I headed over there. There was a big crowd in front of the business. He was detaining the female that got arrested. I assisted him with that, and then brought her to the cruiser. From there, I stood by while he investigated, and then we cleared. But I mean, I feel like almost every weekend that I work, we get calls for Attica regarding disturbances and fights. I can't remember the last weekend I didn't work where we didn't go to Attica for a disturbance or a fight. I was actually there this weekend. So it's like ongoing issue with this business. That's all I have to say for now.
Thank you, officers. Go ahead.
I have a question regarding the incident. Can you take a look at the report, and if you can tell me the day of the week and the time? So was it Friday into Saturday or Saturday into Sunday? Because the closing time is different from one to the other. Can you just clarify that?
So it was Friday into Saturday, so Saturday morning that the incident had occurred.
Okay, so their closing time is 2
2 a.m.
a.m.,
Yep.
okay. The incident was at 2, or roughly around that time?
Around that time frame.
Okay,
I would say around 2:20, 2:30-ish. Because mind you, the club will close at 2, but people loiter around the business for about an hour. So people don't go home right away. They'll stay outside arguing or just causing, being disorderly the whole night. And this is what led to this incident. It was a disorderly arrest, so.
Was security around? Did they help?
They were able to they'll try to help us, but they can only do so much. So once they exhaust their leads, then they call us. So reason why I headed over there beforehand, because I knew that we were gonna get a call anyways, because the club was very packed that night.
One more question. When you reference about the location where the incident happened and the camera, is the camera that it wasn't working, but it was there? Or they said that there was no camera in the location?
There-
What is that location?
There was no camera in the lobby, so right when you go up the steps to Attica Club, there's like an entrance lobby. That's where the incident had happened. So I couldn't see any camera, but I was trying to tell them if there were cameras, maybe I could have missed it, and they said there was no cameras located in that particular area where the incident had occurred.
So as you're entering the club, the stores, then there's the stairs, the foyer, right, double doors.
The double doors inside that area was where the incident had occurred.
Commissioner Laird, did you want me to pass it to Captain Delaney? Captain Delaney?
My department has no questions.
Director Alfonso?
Yes, I have a question, officer. You said that there were just one incident, because the other incident was an arrest. There was no fight in that particular one. Yes or no?
Well, sir, at least with my incident, there was an arrest.
There was an arrest.
There was an arrest.
But I said, there was an arrest, but there was someone hurt.
I believe that was another officer's call. Is he regarding to my initial call?
According to the report that I'm referring, there was anybody hurt in the incident?
No, nobody was hurt, as what we know. So I was asking for the other involved, because the call came in, well, what happened was I spoke to security and they said that the female that I had arrested was fighting with another female. So this is when the whole altercation took place. I asked, where's the other female, involved female? Nobody could tell me where she was. They kept telling me she left, but we don't know who she was. So the reason why I was asking for video footage to try to capture the incident, but they had told me that there were no cameras located where the incident had occurred.
Okay.
So once I couldn't locate the other involved female, the victim that I had arrested became belligerent. She started swearing at officers, she started raising her voice, and she was just out of control that night, that I had no other choice but to put her in cuffs.
Yes, and another question, and maybe the last. That incident happened inside, but the other incident that the other officer, what was the distance, according to your estimation, from the place, the location of the business, and the where you find those people that you had to arrest?
What other incident are you referring to, sir? This incident or like different incidents?
The incident you narrated, that you said that you had to make an arrest at night.
It's right in front of the business.
For right in front of the
Right in
business.
front of the steps.
Okay. No more question.
Thank you.
Officers, I thank you for coming tonight, and I thank you for your service. I'm going to try to make this easy for you guys so you don't have to go there every Friday night, because if they keep going Friday night, they'll be closed. I promise you that. So it's up to them now, and then hear from their attorney and that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Laird, and the message is heard loud and clear. And I've made, not for Attica, but you've heard me before for other clubs, and I make sort of the same presentation because it's just we recognize some of the challenges of running the nightclub business in Lawrence. And I understand many, many years ago, Attica has been before the board on a more serious issue, and that's not, doesn't go without notice from the board. But since that time, they've tried very hard to run a club where patrons, where 95%, 99% of the patrons are there to have a good time, enjoy themselves, let off some steam, and go home and have a safe night. But this incident that the officers just testified to is an example of what happens when a patron gets out of hand. And I would suggest to you I could give testimony from security that Attica acted appropriately. And I could summarize what that is, but if you want to hear further from the security person himself, he will testify. But what happened was, it was about, if I remember from the report, it was 1:48, about 10 minutes before closing time, they were clearing out the club. And this woman became unruly inside the club. Michael Santana was head of security. There were 9 security people on staff that night. When she began to get unruly, tried to escort her out the club. She started to act up similar fashion as the officers stated in their report and testified today. At that point, he did place his hands on her and tried to gently remove her from the club, at which point, at that point, she swung. Sort of, I don't know if it was swinging at any particular person, but in conjunction with that incident, there was another unknown female who sort of started to instigate the situation even more. As he was exiting the club, that's when the police officers intervened, and I believe, from the report and with the testimonies from the officers, security then back off and let the police do their job and take over. We understand that in a perfect world, there should be no such incidences. We don't make excuses, but we do everything we can. We hire appropriate security. We act appropriately when we can. We remain open to any input from the board as to how we can do better. But there was this incident, there's no at least testimony or evidence that this woman was overserved. She was given many chances to leave. She caused her own problem. Thank God nobody was hurt. And again, we're here to answer your questions and concerns and act appropriately. But Commissioner Laird, to your point, we understand. You can't operate a business in the city without making sure that your patrons are safe. And we don't want to put the police officers in unnecessary harm's way either. But given the size of our club and the amount of people that we do serve, most of our patrons have a good time and leave and are peaceful. But we do have these incidents, and we welcome any input, and we want to cooperate.
Thank you. Do you have additional questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just for my record, I see a couple violations right off the bat, okay? First, the security camera. It's supposed to be at every door, every entrance, and it's not there, ain't working, it's a violation.
Can I address that one?
Number one. Number two, how many crowd control managers do they have there?
I believe there were 9 hired security officers plus regular staff.
I didn't ask that. How many crowd control managers are there?
I can ask my client,
How many people were there?
400.
Supposed to keep an accurate count. All right.
400.
Every time they open up with a crowd, every night they open up, they have to have a crowd control manager for the first 150 people. After that, it's 2. When it gets to a certain number, it goes to 3. All right? Up to 750 people, they need 3. So let's put it where it belongs. They have to have a daily report, and I would like to see those reports dropped off to him, to our clerk, by tomorrow.
So for what period of time would you like?
All the crowd control managers for the last year.
Yes, Commissioner.
And being a constant problem, this has got to stop, all right?
Yeah, may I address the camera issue? Because I think there was some confusion on that. My understanding is we did have, I don't discount what the officer said and what he was told, but we do have a camera in that area. And so we actually, when Mr. Rodriguez got notice of this, for this hearing, he went to go and try to check because, there's only so much data we can store over a period of time. But we do have cameras there, and of course, unfortunately, it was too much time to get the data. I don't know why the officer was told what he was told that night, but we do have cameras.
As far as that goes, I can't tell you, but, I mean, there's a problem there every Friday night there, or Saturday night, because of crowds. Under the new rules and regulations this board's gonna be done, they're responsible for inside their club, outside their club, and adjacent parking lots, or any place their customers park. So they have to find a way to get rid of that crowd peacefully and quietly and effectively, all right? If they have to hire police, I don't know if the city's gonna still let you hire police. They better start doing something, because they're not gonna be open long if they keep going the way they are.
Understood.
Would like to add, I do see the police report states that this incident happened at 1:48 a.m. Closing hours are at 2. As the licensing board and commissioners, we really are trying to make sure that businesses are running safely and that patrons are enjoying the nightlife in the community. But we really need folks to respect that 2 a.m. is when we're closing. So the idea is to start getting people out by 1:30, like make sure that it's closed, that it's an orderly conduct. And I share this because I don't think we want to be at a space where the business is up here again for similar issues, because I think that from what we heard from our officers in the community, it's a big burden for them because they're trying to also do their job, but it's a little bit, it just seems like this is happening more often than what we'd like for it to happen. And I want to say that for the record. So please, if closing is 2 a.m., like, as the owners of the establishment, do everything you can so the folks are out safely by that time, and take into consideration all the folks in the community that are counting on you to do that. Commissioner Officer Cano?
Commissioners, just to let you know that the owner of Attica had reached out to the police department. There is some talks about, which was today, we did meet briefly discussing these issues. They are trying to collaborate with other nightclubs in the area to try and get outside police assistance, and even if they have to pay a little extra, but between them mutually, they're trying to coordinate some kind of extra effort to try and secure more security to assist. So that I know, and they've been trying to address this issue. And one of the things that we did discuss was trying to get them to, instead of 15-minute alert at 1:45, let's say, if they close at 2, give it that extra half an hour. And that's something totally up to them, but I think that the more time they give their clients to sober up a little bit and try and get them to understand, hey, lights are on, it's time to stop moving, I think that's going to help everyone in general, and giving them more time to disperse, because everyone likes to have a good time. No one really wants to go out in the cold, and sometimes that's just a little reactive delay in the response, right? So I think that the effort is being, it's in talks. So I think that moving forward, we're hoping that some things could be addressed a little bit better.
Thank you. Do you have anything else to add? Anyone?
As far as the crowd certificate managers, we assisted them in the past, and they should be squared away for that. Most of the staff for a bunch got those certificates, so they should be squared away with that part.
Thank you, Captain.
My question would be, the officer talked about different incidents. Were those incidents things that were reported, or just things that had happened that the board had received those incidents, or?
Dr. Garcia, in preparation for tonight, the only report I read was the one that the board sent out, so I can't address that. But I do understand that the club has been struggling with ways to make sure that they can disperse the crowd peacefully and quietly. So I don't stand before you saying they're not aware that there's an issue. And I think Officer Cano has sort of highlighted the fact that we're not sitting there idly not doing anything. We're not trying to not take responsibility. I think it's a struggle that all clubs have, any nightclub in the city. We're the biggest, so we probably should take the lead on that. We're also the biggest, so we're going to have statistically more incidents, but we strive to have 0. I can't say we're not going to be before you again on an incident, but I can tell you we're going to do everything we can to reduce them so that it's something that's, I don't want to say acceptable, but the board would acknowledge is unavoidable.
We the people that we serve as a business owner, but I think would be a good idea if the owner tried to educate the patrons that attend those businesses, like taking 5 minutes to tell them the problem they can cause for not following the law when they abandon the place. That would be my recommendation.
Perhaps some additional signage, some bilingual signage for people to acknowledge that, I don't know. I'm trying to think on my feet about things that will help. So perhaps some additional signage, to your point, Dr. Garcia, we can try to do that. With respect to the log you're requesting, can we produce those by Friday to make sure that we have enough time to make them accurate?
Counselor?
Yes,
Those
sir.
papers are supposed to be done every day. They should be done already, okay? So all I want is see them dropped off there tomorrow, have
Fair
them
enough.
look at them, and they can take them back to them.
Fair enough.
That's all I want for that. As far as dispersing the crowd, being a police officer in this city for 30 years, okay? I know what it's like to empty out a crowd. I worked nightclubs. Police don't work nightclubs no more. They have security guys. I used to go out and make sure the crowd moved, keep moving, go home, go someplace else, but you're not staying here. And that's what's gonna be done here. If the fights are not inside, they'll be outside. And with the new rulings coming down, the club's gonna be more responsible.
So the suggestion, if I'm hearing from you, is making sure that our security staff is sufficient and sufficiently trained to be able to go outside with the patrons and make sure that they are dispersing.
Just have them move on. Works up there with the police department, that when you got a big group like that, they hire security, police officers to be outside to move them on.
All right, we hear that.
I don't know if these people, know the power we have.
Commissioner, I would say that they know, and without disclosing what I've spoken to my clients with, they understand and they respect it, and it's, they don't take this lightly.
He can speak in a minute, but I want to say a couple of things, okay? We have the power to suspend their license, to revoke their license, or change their hours of operation, all right? Hours of operation, we can close them down every night at 11 o'clock, and that's going to kill his business. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, so, wait a second, you can come up 1 minute, okay? What I'm trying to say, it's up to them to work to straighten this thing out, okay?
Just want to say one thing. Excuse me, my name is Adonis. I'm the owner of Attica, and I just want to clarify one thing. I know that you get mad because of the camera. I think that's a misunderstanding. You guys have proved that anytime you want something from Attica, we are up to give everything you want. I don't know what happened that day that somebody told him. Maybe he doesn't know that I'm the one in charge. I don't know who told him that. I'm not telling that somebody told him that, but here I see people that have worked with us before, and we are not like that. You guys, you've been there before. Every time you go, you have access to everything. That's how we are. Just want to clarify that.
Camera malfunction, but if it isn't a camera there, you have to put a camera there.
That's what I'm trying to say. We have it. It was a misunderstanding, I think, and we always we are up to help with everything we need to help. That's it. That's the only thing I want.
Thank you.
I'm going to make a motion that we give them a verbal warning this time, and the next time will be a 2-week, on record, 2-week suspension of hours until 11 o'clock at night. So it's up to him to maintain the problem and to straighten it out.
Thank you.
I will second the motion. So, do you want Ooh. Come on.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jose Monta from Monta Security Agency. Okay, I'm the security company for Palma, Attica, Xavier, and, well, the 3 or 4, okay? So, the problem about the responsibility of the club with the incident to happen outside, we understand like we have responsibility. That's why Attica, he hired me to make it more strong the security. And become with the idea to hire it to a detail patrol, a detail for 4 hours like that. To have, we plan to do that for like Malaya, Attica, Mir and Aqua. The other one, Las Palmas, Blue, and Flow. Do it like that. Xavier, Pollo Típico, Gary Típico, to keep the last 4 hours, like they will finish, Friday they will finish to work at 3, but all day they will be secured like to make all the people when come out of the club to leave, and that will prevent incidents because the police present with the light, there is a patrol. This morning I met with Officer Cano and with Captain Montas and Officer Dar, and they were very cooperative with the idea, and almost all the owners of the club, they agreed to pay for that detail. It's the way to prevent, like in this summer, so we know to avoid to have incident. It's only that's the only I want to let you know. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Like I said before, it's a problem you guys have to work on. I don't know how to address it, but I'm hoping you guys do address it. Like Officer Candle said, I hope it gets done the way so there'll be no more problems on a Friday, Saturday night. Nothing worse than a guy going to work at 1 o'clock in the morning and before he has roll call, has to get into his car and run over to a scene with a major brawl. Someone's gonna get hurt, be it the patient or the police. And that's the worst thing you can do is have someone rush over there not knowing what's going on because he just reported to work. So I'm just gonna say this, my motion is we're gonna give you a verbal warning, and the next time you come in for us for the same thing, it's gonna be maybe a 3-day suspension or a change of hours for a month.
Understood.
So I will second on the record a verbal warning and to have on the record that if this does happen again, we will consider a suspension or a change of hours until 11 o'clock for about a month.
Commissioner McLeod make a motion to give it a verbal warning, and then if it happen again, they come to the commission, they're gonna get 2 or 3 days suspension or change the hour. Second by Commissioner Morales. Commissioner Leal, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Morales?
Yes.
Motion passed. You have a verbal warning, and they have to report to the commission every day regarding the assistant, right?
This just bring the logs in, have them take a look at it.
But, yeah, but every day you want it, or just
One
One day,
second.
one time.
last year? Got it.
The purpose of that, he's dealing with a lot of clients over there, right? I mean, patrons. And when you have a lot of patrons, you gotta think about exits out of there in case of a fire. And I just wanna make sure it's being done. And if another club comes in with the same problem, I'm gonna make sure they bring their hours, records in too. I mean, the fire department's checked on you. I want this board to check on it, that we're on the same page.
Adonis will be in your office in the morning.
1 second. Captain Delaney, go ahead.
If you would like, the fire department can stop over there tomorrow and review their certificates and bring them to Antonio.
Yeah, that's okay with me, as long as it's checked on and this board knows it's being done.
Great. All right. Thank you for the board's time. Thank you.
Thank you. The second item on the agenda is Xavier's Place and Bar is applying for an increased capacity of the business from 119 to 251. Hi.
Hi.
Could you please state your name for the record and then the reason for the expansion?
My name is Xavier Jagual. I'm the son of the owner, Louis Jagual. And the reason for expansion is we've done a lot of renovations. You know, we have the kitchen up and running now too, so we feel like we could, get more customers in if we increase the capacity and whatnot.
Thank you. Just give us 1 second to look through. Okay, great. A point of information, I have a question. We have the application for 2 items, an application for extension of, okay. So, and then we also have the incident for the police report, okay. I know that the capacity was, the capacity extension was a tabled matter, and we needed to see an updated floor plan for that, and we do have it. As far as the capacity issue itself, I don't have any questions, but I would like to do these 2 issues separately, because they're 2 different issues, so I don't think we should. So for the capacity, for extending the capacity, do we have any comments and questions on that right now?
I have a couple questions on it, and one is, you had a problem with 119 people in a fight that went out in the street. And if you can't control it with 119, how are you gonna control with 251 people?
Well, as the other clubs want to join with the police department, they want to build that patrol up. We've reached out in the past as well. Honestly, I was just aware that you just, in the earlier case, you mentioned that, the security has to push the crowd out even if it's in the adjacent parking lots. And that's something now that I'm aware of and my father is aware of, and that we are really strongly gonna push in terms of crowd control and whatnot.
I was told once before, this is the second offense for this. They had a fight there since last June to now, the second time. Is that true?
Yes, but this one was the adjacent parking lot.
Jason parking lot, it's in front of your building, it's inside your building, it can't happen, people have to live and sleep there, and one guy got stabbed, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Right? So that doesn't tell us much, except you want to increase it to 251 people, And I believe that you can't control 251 people if you can't control 119. I need an answer, how are you gonna control 251 if you can't control 119?
With increased security, we're gonna add more security, you know, hopefully we could get this patrol going on with the cops, and honestly, that's basically what we could do in terms of that.
We also, I know you are aware of the crowd control. You need to make sure you have crowd control managers inside the space, and I know the fire department will go over any of those details if you need them, but that's also something, are you all prepared for that?
Yes, we even have the risk assessment, you know, that we've been working on with our, perfect. And, yeah.
Officer Cano, do you have any questions?
At this time, I have reservations regarding the square footage. Is it 194 square feet? Is that the area for both, top and bottom? So we're talking about first floor or second floor?
It's just one floor, it's just, once they're split up by a little step, I guess.
So it's one floor?
Yes.
And the square footage for the one floor?
Is the 1,300 square foot for one, and 677 square foot for the other? Oh, no, sorry about that, give me 1 second. Oh, it's all in one.
I'm not sure if I'm following the diagram, but, so it's one floor for 291 occupants. That includes the tables, that includes the chairs. Is that correct?
Yes.
Or is that not correct?
No.
From what I'm saying, it says from 119 to 251 total.
It's 160 to 251.
I've got 119 to 251.
Captain Delaney?
We're familiar with the occupancy. I'm looking at the math right now, Mr. Devers' math. That is for, like, the dance floor, 191 occupants. There's not much furniture in here, so if this math checks out, as this seating plan is, it looks like it could be possibly 291. If they put any more tables or chairs or anything like that, that affects the number.
Okay.
So it looks like his math here, I would have liked the detailed narrative on this, but you just have to go by this right here. There's no tables and chairs anywhere, just your bar over here, a bar to the left, and then the rest is all open area. I'm not sure if these are pool tables. They have pool tables there?
Yeah, on the left, yeah.
Okay. So just this math is for really no table and chairs anywhere, just at the bar. That's where we're getting 291. So according to this, you don't have any seating except seats at the bar, according to
Yeah,
the
according,
formula. Okay, no question.
Director Alfonso?
Yes, I don't understand how the space for people to be standing is going to work, because what type of activities you can have that people can be standing up all the time?
Dancing and drinking.
dancing and drinking. Okay. And you said that you're going to have a plan in the future to control the crowd.
Correct, yeah, we're gonna increase our security for sure.
Yes, but in terms of the board, I think they want to see that type of plan to make a decision. Because the problem is, if you say that in the future you're going to do it, it's up to you to do it if they make a decision without seeing the plan. And from inspectional services standpoint, that is very important to know what the people is going to be, if seated or walking around or doing something, because then we cannot control the type of activity that you're going to have. If you have the capacity, you can do whatever, you know, for your business. That's my only concern.
Go ahead, Captain Delaney.
Question through the chair. Do you guys serve food?
Yes.
So you really, you know, according to your math, you really only have, out of the 291, you only have seats for 20, if I'm following this correctly. So that would be 271 standing. Again, I think it works out for this, for right here, but that's with no table and chairs. That's just 13 seats at this bar, 20 seats at this bar, the other 271 people standing. So if you have a function or do something and bring in chairs and tables, it affects that number.
Capacity, yeah.
May I address?
Yes, please.
Mr. Ugal, look, we're trying to be reasonable, right? We're reasonable people. We try to address the concerns before they happen. One of the things that, from the parties that left previously, that were before you, that were before us, one of the questions that we asked is if they have a contingency plan. If something happens, what do you have in plan? Have you spoken to security and staff to make sure that they know what plans you have in case something happens? You really need to think about that. The other thing is that I don't think there's any business that you're going to open up and not have seating and tables for food and for people to sit down. Because if you're standing up for 3 or 4 hours, you're going to sit down somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, and our worry, right? I'll speak about me. My worry is that once we give you the occupancy, or it's allowed, then you're going to go and put tables and chairs. And now that occupancy number is affected, because now you've got the number, but then the space is not there. So I think that you should work the other way around. Put the things that you need, get a lower number, something you can work with that makes sense, that we are, you know, being reasonable, think, okay, that makes sense, that's good, and then work from there. If you can figure out a way that you can make more space, but don't go the other way, because it just doesn't, look, I sympathize with you, you're a business, you want to make money, but at what cost? Because if something comes up, and then you can't handle it, then it's worse for you, because then we have to make a decision on something that you probably could have controlled had you been forward in advance. And we want to work with you, but again, incidences are happening, and we have to react. And then when we react, it may not be favorable to you, but we're looking out for the greater good, for the people that have to respond for an emergency, for the people that are injured, for the people that went out to your establishment hoping that you were doing the right thing, and then they get hurt. Like, these are the things we can't have. These are the things we want to try and mitigate. And no one wants to go to work, and no one wants to go, especially, I'm sure you have family working in your business. Someone gets hurt, and then what? You know? Then you're down one person. Everyone gets sick once in a while, right? But the point in case is that we're trying to avoid situations that are going to affect your business and affect the city in a negative light.
Captain Delaney?
I would suggest through the board, working with Mr. Devers, and it is possible to have several occupancies So for example, if you were gonna have a band or something and you didn't have tables and chairs, then you could have this diagram with your 291, that's possible. Then you should have another number when you have all tables and chairs, it might lower it to 185 or something. So you just have to abide by that. This is correct with really no seating, so a band or something like that, this would be possible. But you need also another number when you're serving food, you do a restaurant, you do a wedding, or you do some other function that people are gonna be sitting, you should have another number. And just whatever your seating is, you have to abide by that.
Okay.
I have a question. Is it possible that the number that they have right now, the 119, is it? Your capacity is at 119 as we speak?
165.
165. With that capacity, are you all seating people? Like, is there spaces? So my question is it the same, or are you seating people already? Or?
No, they're sitting, we have couches. Yeah.
But in terms, so what my question is like, if we were to approve this today, are we approving it for a different instance, like where people, it's just a standing room?
Yeah.
And then you already have a number where you have included chairs and tables? No?
I don't know, we don't have that number.
Okay,
figured out, no.
it's okay, I'm just trying to, you're good, okay. So I don't think, I'm looking at Antonio because I know you know some of these details. When you spoke with Inspectional Services, they said 93 seating, and then 100 and, mhm. But what we're saying is we don't have what the normal sitting capacity is. It doesn't work.
Would is it 119 that we have now? Is that what's current?
157,
No, 165,
165.
current.
Well, they have that number set now, right?
Yes, that is what they have now.
So can we work off of that number and then have Mr. Devers draw something according for that number on your establishment? And then we can perhaps work off of,
The question is one that Officer make, and is with the type of activities that you have in the place right now, are you using the space with all the tables? Because for you to seat 165 people, are they seated, or half of them are walking around as you are planning for the 291?
So currently, it's empty, yeah.
Yes, that's what I think. If they approve something, have to be specifically for a type of activity that can manage that type of situation. That's the problem. And then you are soliciting for all kind of activities. That's the problem. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Traduzco.
Ok, esa capacidad, 165 personas.
Sí.
Eso lo tengo hace 20 años que yo compré el negocio.
Okay.
Entonces, de ahí a allá veo muchas renovaciones que yo he hecho más amplio.
Okay.
Porque ese era más pequeño.
Okay, perfecto. Thank you. So the 169 capacity, I've had it for now since I owned the business for about 20 years. Since then, I've made expansions to the business, and that's why we're here, to see if we can have a larger capacity. Okay. You have questions?
Yeah, I'd like to ask,
Yeah, go ahead.
you're serving food there too? Or what kind of food?
Fast foods, like
Huh?
just quick little bar bites. It's like fast foods.
Where do you cook it?
Where am I cooking? In the kitchen in the back.
Where's it sort of kitchen on your floor plan?
It's mislabeled, unfortunately, is where it says storage in the upper left corner.
You're saying the storage is by the exit there?
Yeah.
En la parte de atrás del negocio.
Sí, yeah, a donde dice storage, ahí está la cocina. So in the storage area, that's actually the kitchen. It's just mislabeled here.
Y los inspectores fueron a inspeccionar este fin de semana
And the inspectors went and inspected this past weekend.
la cocina.
Yeah. So I'm trying to clarify everything because I know that this is going to be the third time that you guys are up here, and I would hate for you guys to have to go back to the architects, the Devers, and like get something. So I'm just trying to understand, if we were to approve a capacity expansion this evening, we're doing it based on the fact that you've remodeled and that this space would be for standing room only. But then what we're asking, I think, is to see it as well with what capacity you can have if you were to add additional tables, because you want to be able to serve food, right?
I am against it. I'm not gonna vote to give you the extension to the 291 or 251, wherever it is, until I see a complete thing with chairs and tables, because I know your bar is gonna have tables and chairs in there. So until I get an up-to-date thing, the answer to vote for your extension, to expand your seating capacity is gonna be a no from me. So unless you get that with Marcos Davis again and try to come down and show where actually your tables and chairs are gonna be. Because I don't know one club in this city that doesn't have tables and chairs. If I'm gonna bring a woman into a club to drink, she's gonna wanna sit down. She ain't gonna wanna stand up and hold a drink all day. So let's get serious about it and have it done right, okay?
Captain Delaney? Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, but a suggestion, I believe we could work this out. Mr. Devers does this all the time with the clubs, and like we said, there are formulas. Again, it is possible for the 291, if you had a large function, if you had a band or you had some music or something like that, my suggestion would be you also need another number with another seating plan when you do have tables and chairs. So that's where Mr. Devers could probably draw something up. And again, the board would have to go over it, but it is possible to have two different numbers with two different seating arrangements. It's possible to have three different numbers, with one with no tables and chairs, some with a function tables and chairs on the dance floor, and then maybe chairs throughout. So there is a solution to this. I'd suggest just working it out with Mr. Devers. The fire department would be more than happy to assist you, but right here, this does work, 291, but that's with no tables and chairs. So once you put that in and you still had your 291, it could be dangerous.
Thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Alfonso.
Yes, even though you go to Marcos again, Marco is going to do a new seating plan. You have to have in mind that the amount won't get to 291. But if you are able to accept that amount, then I suggest that you do that. But don't do it in a way that we say that you're going to go to 291, because it's going to be impossible taking into account the tables. So this is my observation, just in case.
All right, okay.
Go ahead, Captain Delaney.
Question to the chair. Do you guys have like a function coming up soon where you need the 291, or is this just for the future? Well, the 291 that we're going up to. Is it 251?
Friday.
I have 291. So we'll go with the number 291, that's what's on here. Do you have a function that's coming up soon? where
Yeah,
you-
Friday.
This Friday,
This Friday?
yes.
Okay.
The first time, I remember the first time was 251.
Yes, I've got 251 too, that's from the last meeting too. I don't know where they got 291. So you're gonna have a function this Friday? What kind of function is it?
The artist is coming down. An artist, musician.
Bachata.
Bachata.
And they don't see it.
It's not my favorite music, but we'll leave that alone. I would say this, to give you some way of leeway, okay? I'm willing to amend it to give you some more room. To say, go to, you're at 119, I have now, right?
165.
119.
Yeah. So many numbers.
I would say I'd go to 200 right now to give you a break.
Yeah, hold on.
Yep. There is a solution here. I mean, the number's the number. I mean, it's a mathematical formula that's set up in the building code that allows the occupancy. A suggestion would be if it's, Mr. Devers' math is 291, you're looking for 251, I believe the building commissioner would have to, the occupancy is the occupancy. I believe the building commissioner might have to sign something saying it could be lower. It is possible to give them something of 251 based on this math for a temporary number until everything gets settled. I'm not sure if what the ABCC and that logistics goes, but again, this math works out with nothing there. For their event Friday, if this was their seating plan, this would work.
I would say that inspection of services can have an idea, the building department can have an idea, but the people that are working with this are the board, and they can decide, even though if inspection of services approve an amount, that doesn't mean that it's going to be allowed by the board. So I leave it to the board, and I think the offer that he is making, I think is good, because that was one of my suggestions, that if you go to 200, you will be okay putting chairs or something like that. Maybe a little short, but I think 200 can be managed in a different way.
I'm gonna make a motion that we change it, the occupancy permit to 225 and leave it that way until you can prove you can handle 291.
A point of clarification, it's still, if we're giving somebody an occupancy on 225 or whatever it is, they have to show the math. That's the whole thing. They have to show exactly what they're gonna have in there, and then it's just a mathematical formula. So it's kinda a little bit dangerous to just say, well, it's 225. They have to show where that 225 is, because they might have something set up that maybe it only fits 185. I mean, the number is the number. They just have to show exactly what they're gonna have for the seating, and then the math is the math.
A question. With the chairs, he has 20 tables, right? What could he put in there? And that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Through the chair, that would have to be settled with them and their registered design professional, Mr. Devers. They'd have to figure out exactly what they want to have, and then the occupancy, show their seating. Is it fixed seating? Is it movable seating? There's so many square feet for a dance floor. Every different area has its own square foot per person. So they just got to show exactly what they want and just show the math. And we'd assist them with it. We work with Mr. Devers all the time on this. And again, it is possible to have a couple, I believe, to have a couple different numbers. But just to say, well, 225, they still have to show what are they gonna have for tables and chairs for that 225. They have to show their seating plan and then do the math accordingly, and the math's the math.
Question, again, you say it's okay for 291 with no furniture, right?
According to Mr. Dever's calculations, yes.
I don't know, just increase it to 225 with no furniture.
Yes.
That means you have no tables and chairs Friday, but you can increase it to 225 until you come back with a new plan, with Marcus Devers gives you with tables and chairs and everything else, and give all the numbers to us. This will help you. We expect to be seeing you real soon again here with an update maps and everything else.
All right. Okay.
Is that all right, Mr. Captain Lane?
Yeah, I think we can get through this Friday, and then again, we could assist you with it. It's pretty easy. You just have to do a couple seating plans, show what you're gonna have, and again, the math is the math. And we could assist you, and we work with Mr. Devers all the time on this, and we'll be more than happy to help you out.
All right. Thank you.
So for this Friday, we'll make a motion.
I'm making a motion now, we accept 225 with no tables and chairs for his occupancy permit, and he has to come back with Marcus Devers, seating plan with chairs and all the other accessories.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Commissioner Lea making a motion to increase the capacity to 225 with no table and chair, and then get back to the board with a new plan. Second by Commissioner Morales. Commissioner Lea, how do you vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion passed to 0. The capacity is being increased for this weekend. And then you come back for the next meeting. That is going to be held on April 5th.
April 1st. Okay.
Thank you very much.
And, and to be clear,
you're not
you'll
going away.
have, no, we
I know,
have
I
another
know.
part. And to
Yeah.
be clear, you'll have two different floor plans for us.
Yes.
So one with seating
And we're.
and one with standing.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. And then we have,
Thank you, sir.
sí, gracias a usted. Tenemos otro, another part for, we have a report, an
So
incident
for
report.
capacity.
Sí,
All right.
go ahead, officer.
I'm going to ask through the board if these gentlemen can sit down, and I'll present the officers, and then they can come and either read the report, or they can summarize to their memory, to their recollection, as to the incident.
Thank you.
This incident is documented as of Monday,
Excuse me?
February.
Is the officer here?
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask him one question. You're gonna accept the officer's story?
What was that?
You're gonna accept the officer's report as being true? No. You're saying this report about the fight is not true?
Yeah. No, he's just he's misunderstanding because he's saying that fight didn't happen in our establishment, it happened somewhere else. That's why he said it's not true.
Well, I'm just saying, the officer's here to say that there was a fight there, okay? Do you want him to read the report, and let the officer go, or let the officer get up and speak?
They could read the report.
You can dismiss the officers then, okay?
Do you want?
What I'm trying to say is, if he's gonna read the report, and the officer's here, have the officer do it, or you read the report and let the officers go. There's no use to keep both of them, because they said they're gonna accept the story, except it didn't happen in their, in the club that's there.
I would prefer for them to read their report, they were present, versus me.
Thank you. Say, and the officers, thank you. For the record, can you just state your names and then do a summary of what happened?
So my name is Officer Martinez.
May I just to interrupt real quick? No names from the reports, please.
Yes. So Officer Victor Martinez, working with the Lawrence Police Department. I worked the midnight shift from 1 a.m. to 9 a.m. On Monday, February 13th, I was working that night. Right after roll call, I was getting my gear. We got a call, disturbance by Xavier's on Lawrence Street. They said there were firearms involved. Somebody was brandishing a firearm. I was the first one there. When I got there, there was a big crowd, approximately 100 people outside. There are some people directly in front of the business. There are some people across the street from the business. There are some people on the streets. Cars were blocking the road. As I got out, people were giving me conflicting stories. Some were saying, there's a guy over there with a gun, person over there with a gun. They were fighting. As we were trying to figure the situation out, we observed a fight breaking out in the parking lot of Pecking Garden, which is just north of the business. From what I gather, the argument originated at Xavier's, and it moved onto the parking lot of Pecking Garden. There was a crowd of approximately 10 people fighting. We intervened, ended up arresting 7 of them. In that crowd, we later found out that someone got stabbed and they were taken to the hospital. The suspect was arrested at the scene, the stabbing suspect. And we cleared from there afterwards. But yeah, the argument did originate from the club, and then it moved along as the club was closing. I have nothing further to report. I'll let Officer Tavares give the side of the story.
Good evening. My name is Officer Tavares. I work for the Lawrence Police Department. I worked that midnight shift on February 13. I was actually the 4th person to show up there. That commotion was still going on. We were, Officer Martinez and another officer were trying to disperse the crowd, but it was impossible to do that. That made us arrest 7 people that night. He said, as he mentioned, we later found out that someone got stabbed. And that's all I have actually, really.
Officer, could you tell me if the fight started in the club or outside the club?
So from what I gather after we questioned everybody, it started outside the club, the argument, and then they moved along north towards, it ended up in the Pecking Garden parking lot.
Thank you.
But I think there was multiple fights. There was people directly in front of the club. There was a crowd directly in front of the club on the streets, middle of the street. I couldn't pull up directly to the scene because the traffic was jammed up because there was people on the streets and everything.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions for you all. Officer Cano, do you have?
At this point, I don't have any information regarding any of the injured parties. I think the case is still ongoing because the parties went to court. I'm sure that it's still an ongoing case, so I can't really talk much about it. I also, based on their testimony, it's being alleged that it initiated from within to out in the street, but I also don't have enough information as far as that's concerned either to verify definitely if it did. My concern obviously is what's happening within the city with these establishments, trying to have some kind of decorum to try and control and dissipate the patrons so that they're going out and, obviously these issues are hard to control. Anyone can get into a fight with someone, but we also want to make sure that the businesses are aware that we're trying to make sure that people are safe, and at least if they see something, to call.
Thank you, Officer. Captain Delaney?
Fire department has no questions.
Thank you, Director Alfonso.
Yes, my question is, you mentioned that there was a firearm involved.
So when we got called over there, the reporting party reported to dispatch that somebody was brandishing a firearm. When we got there, we didn't see anybody brandishing any firearms. But that's not to say that it wasn't true, but we didn't see anybody, but that's what we got called there for.
Yes.
In fight, somebody was waving a firearm around.
I just wanted to state on the board that if they are not sure and it's not in the report, because my next question would be about security in the place, why they didn't know, but if it's not in the report, it's,
No, whoever called allegedly said that there was a firearm involved.
okay.
Thank you. I do have a question, a point of information, I guess, for all of you. Is it, the reason that we are considering it an incident that's connected to Xavier's is because this incident happened outside of that club? Like,
So the incident happened outside of the club. The people involved in the incident were at the club.
okay,
It happened right after the club closed, and it was fairly close to that club.
okay, thank you. Commissioner Laird, do you have any questions?
I have no questions of the officers. Again, I thank you.
Thank you. Do you all want to share with us what happened that evening and your,
So I wasn't personally there. My father works there at night.
okay,
So he wasn't aware that anything happened. Usually when there is an incident that happens at our establishment, the police immediately go inside to check things out. That did not happen that night. And once again, the whole crowd control, pushing people out of the parking lots, that we'll own up to that. That was our fault, and we probably should have done it then, but we were unaware of anything that ever happened outside. Because that was closing time, so they were inside working, well, closing up shop.
thank you. Commissioner Laird?
You know you're gonna be responsible for any fights outside now, right?
Yes,
Okay.
100%.
You're gonna increase your security, right?
For sure we are.
Also, you got a bigger crowd that's for 225s.
Yeah.
You don't want it to go out and fight all the time.
No, of
Because you're
course.
gonna be, you can increase your business to 225 and lose your license real quick.
Yes.
So you gotta be careful, right? Also, I kind of find it hard to believe that you say that you didn't know there was a fight going on with sirens going off out in front of the thing and cruisers coming there, and the guys don't know nothing's going on. I find that a little difficult to believe, but I'm gonna take your word at it, okay?
Okay.
Because I've worked clubs. I know when they break out in a fight, the help comes, oh, they're fighting outside, and they all come back in and hide. I know what it's like, all right? But I think you have to pay more attention.
Definitely.
Officer Cano, do you have anything else to add?
I have nothing else to add.
Captain Delaney?
No questions.
Director Alfonso?
No more question.
I'd like to make a motion to give you all a verbal warning as is, because and the reason I want to give a why, we need to make sure that folks are safe. We need to make sure folks know that we are taking all the precautions as a commission to make sure that we're keeping you all accountable as well. I know that you guys are working on a new security plan for the community, which I think is incredible. But I'd like to leave you all off with a verbal warning, just so that we are aware of what's happening outside of your premises and during and after events.
I'll second that motion.
Commissioner Ana Morales made a motion to give you a verbal warning, second by Commissioner Laird, for incident that happened on 213 at 241 Lawrence Street at Xavier Place. Commissioner Laird, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Morales, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passed. You have a verbal warning and take care of the business. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
1 second. Go ahead, Director Alfonso.
Yes, what I want to say is, I'm gonna say in Spanish because I know you are the one that is most in the business, okay? Como yo le dije al otro caso, usted tiene que coger 5 minutos de esa fiesta de bachata antes de que termine y hablar con toda la gente que estén ahí del peligro de que usted pueda perder la licencia si ellos hacen un revolú afuera porque le toca al negocio. Es una sugerencia que le va a servir. Okay.
Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda is motor vehicle license, Class 2 for Glamour's Boutique is applying for a wholesale to wholesale.
I'm sorry, there is a one-day alcohol license and then another common vic license. Glamour's was tabled. Yeah.
My apologies.
Yeah.
Okay, Glamour's is tabled.
Is Glamorous here?
No. And how about Simply Elegant Catering, Inc.? Okay, please come up.
Commissioners,
Ahead.
so Glamours was tabled until they notified us that they were ready?
Yes, yeah,
They're not here though, right?
no. Sorry, it's in the agenda, it's new business, so we just need to. Good evening. Could you please state your name for the record and the reason for the one-day application for wine and malt and beverage?
Yes.
Thank you.
My name is Sam Ambra. I own Simply Elegant Catering, and I'm here for an application for one night for wine and beer at Central Catholic High School. It's for it's a fundraiser called Bids and Bites. We're handling the food as well as the alcohol.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions. Commissioner Laird?
I have no questions.
Officer Cano?
I have no questions.
Captain Delaney?
The fire department is familiar with the event. We will be by the night of the event for a 304 inspection.
Okay. Excuse me, sir, if I might ask. We do a pasta station. It's with the butane, the little cans. We usually bring a fire extinguisher with or keep it under the table. Is that okay?
I could talk to you after this. I'll give you my phone number. We could square it away.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Director Alfonso?
No question.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to grant the one-day license.
I'll make a second that motion.
Commissioner Morales, make the motion to approve the one-day liquor license for Simple Elegance at 300 Hampshire Street for any events coming up next month. Second by Commissioner Laird. Commissioner Morales, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Laird?
Yes.
Motion passed 2-0. You can come by tomorrow to pick up the license. Okay,
Thank you very much.
congratulations.
What time is a good time to come by?
After 8:30,
After 8:30?
yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Here early, so if you want to come at 8:37, we'll be ready for it.
The next item is Lizardo Inc. They're applying for the Lizardo. Sí. Mhm. They're applying for a common vic license.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience. Okay, sí. Hello, ¿en inglés o en español?
Español.
Ok, para nosotros tenerlo en el record. Estoy cansada. Usted no puede dar su nombre y la razón por la aplicación, por favor.
Mi nombre es Andrea Taveras. Vengo representando a Lizardo Restaurant,
Ujú.
a la licencia.
Okay. She's representing Lizardo Restaurant and they're applying for a common vic license. En un minuto.
Thank you.
Officer Cano, do you have any questions?
I have no questions.
Captain Delaney?
No questions at this time.
Thank you.
Director Alfonso?
Sí, ¿usted trabaja en el restaurante?
Sí,
Perfecto. ¿Ustedes llenaron todos los permisos en Inspection of Services?
sí, tengo un permiso.
Todos fueron aprobados,
Es correcto.
pero todavía no le han hecho la inspección, pero eso es
Nos
diferente.
falta la impresión.
Exacto. Inspection of Services is familiar with the application and everything, the application process, and have no more question about that.
Thank you. Commissioner Laird, do you have any?
I have no questions.
I would like to make a motion to approve this license for a common vic license.
I'll second that.
Le estamos aprobando la licencia.
Ay, muchas gracias.
Commissioner Morales made a motion to approve the common vic license for Lizardo Restaurant, 103-107 Union Street, second by Commissioner Laird. Commissioner Morales, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Laird, how do you vote?
Yes.
Motion passed 2-0. Congratulations. Su
Thank you.
licencia ha sido aprobada.
Muchas gracias
Pueden
por
pasar a
todo.
recoger la mañana después de las 8:30.
Gracias, pasen buena noche.
Ok, gracias a usted. Gracias. Las Palmas.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm Maria Thomas from Las Palmas, owner of the Palmas Restaurant.
May I, Commissioners, I'm
Yes.
going to need to excuse myself for conflict of interest.
Thank you. That's fine.
If I may say something, we have a letter from her attorney, they want to continue to the 19th of April. So
Yes.
no use of, we're just going to continue to the 19th. I'll
Okay.
make a motion, we continue to the 19th of April.
Okay. So I'll second the motion.
Commissioner Laird made a motion to move the item to April 19, second by Commissioner Morales. Commissioner Laird, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Morales, how do you vote?
Yes.
Item Las Palmas incident has been moved to April 19. Thank you.
Okay, I have one question. please.
Yes.
I don't have any information on anything that I'm here for, so I would like to get a police report or incident report, or
Okay.
anything would be really appreciated.
Yes. I have a question for, is the police report public? Can she get access through this in a public way?
There, at this point, there is a report that she can get, but it's going to be redacted to a point that she won't have any names in it, although it may have some kind of a record as to what it is. That's a question for the city clerk's office, so you can go to the city clerk's office and request it.
Okay, but what am I gonna ask for? Because there's nothing happened at my establishment, so I don't know where even, what to ask her for. Whose name versus what, I don't.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll reach out to the clerk's office and have them see what they can give them in regards to dates. I think the dates are in the paperwork, right?
You don't have to know what names, all you have to do.
No,
I'm
'cause
just
I
saying,
just wanna know what the incident is
there's,
and what,
there's a couple.
how am I liable for why I'm here, you know?
Excuse me, there's a couple incidents coming up. One, there was 2 stabbings that we're looking into, all
Okay.
right? I have video of 1 stabbing, okay?
Okay.
The other stabbing just happened recently, that's gonna be another incident. Then we
I'm
have
aware
a-
of those, yeah.
Then we have an incident with some new dancers in there. So we're gonna bring these all up at once, okay? So I'm just letting you know ahead of time.
All right, but I would like just some information so my lawyer could
Yeah,
prepare.
you can have Bob give me a call, he knows where to find me, all right?
Okay,
Okay?
I'll have him call you. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, and thank you for your patience. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting, but publicly when is our next meeting? Our next meeting is set for April 5th? April 5th, 2023 at 6 PM. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Morales make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:08, second by Commissioner Laird. Commissioner Morales, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Laird, how do you vote to adjourn the meeting?
Yes.
Meeting adjourned.